Welcome to today's show, the highlights of your week. Today we're going to talk about Gandhi, a very interesting and serious matter.
Most of us probably know that he was a great Indian leader, but do we really know the whole story? These are our experts on the subject. Sit back and relax while we give you the true story of Mahatma Gandhi.
Okay, so before we dig deeper into Gandhi's background and his achievements, I think we need some basics first. Hello Maria Karlsson and welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
We'd like to know a bit more about Gandhi's early life and how this later on affected his future.
Well, what I can tell you is, I can tell you about his early life with his family and his wife, and then he's moved to London to study as a barrister. And I think this is when the transformation happened from a stubborn young boy to a young, smart man who had seen a little bit of the world and now knew what he wanted.
Thank you very much.
Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was born in a little town called Porbandar on 2nd of October 1869. Porbandar was situated in a so-called state, Raikot. India was under the British rule at the time of Gandhi's birth, and a lot of various municipalities and autonomic states were allowed, and Raikot was one of those states. Mahatma's father, Karamchand Gandhi, had died before Gandhi himself could finish his education in school, but the atmosphere that was created at their home has left its mark on Gandhi for the rest of his life. Compassion, being a vegetarian, fasting for self-purification, and learning how to be tolerant to different individuals. Having great qualities and personality like Gandhi had is of course important, though we're not to judge what is more important in this case, one's personality or the atmosphere in which one's been growing. At the age of 13, he was to marry a girl of almost his age, just a few months older, Kasturbai. She was also called Kasturba or Ba. It was not a wish of Ba or Gandhi's. Arranged child marriages was a custom in the region where Gandhi had been growing up, Porbandar. Couple's first child was born when Gandhi was 15, though the child had not survived. It died only a few days old. It may have been because of the stress the family had been going through. Earlier that year, Gandhi's father, Karamchand, had died. He was the Divan of the province, and Divan means the Prime Minister. Gandhi and Kasturba had 4 more children, and they were all sons. When it comes to academic excellence, Gandhi never was an outstanding grade student, and his success in studies was more than average. When passing the exams from high school to enter Samalda College, Gandhi had a lot of troubles. It was difficult for him, not only because of the exams themselves, but also because of the pressure from the family. They wanted him to become a barrister. So when he was little older than 19 years old, he travelled to England to study at University College in London. He was unhappy about this decision, as it was not his, but his mother's or her family's. He had also sworn to his mother to go to London and not only study, but also to try and bring their culture in some ways, and show the Hindu ways of living life. As an example, total rejection of alcohol, meat, and promiscuity. Promiscuity means sexual activity. Joining the vegetarian society was the reason of his vow to his mother and not being able to digest English food. This is where his path in the religion starts, and a few of the members of the vegetarian society suggested him to read Bhagavad Gita, Hindu religious book. After studying not only law but also religion, his way of looking at the world had changed a lot. Comparing different world religions, Islam, Hinduism, Christianity, he had learned a lot. When coming back to India after his education in London, it was already not the same Gandhi, but yet not the one we know as the nation's father or the great soul. But every great mind has its own way to its greatness. Finding out that his mother had died during his absence has also left its mark on Gandhi's personality. After his education in London, he was assigned for work in South Africa, and this is where the great journey for Gandhi begins. But looking back at the family history, can we really say that his family had affected him a lot? And I think yes, we can. Every little story or every great story has its own beginning. And actually, the beginning of Gandhi's great story was home in Porbandar, learning the ways of a Hindu.
Welcome back to the studio. I'm here with Sarah Seville, expert in assassinations throughout the history. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you.
We're going to talk a bit about Gandhi and how his death affected the world. What can you say about the subject?
Well, Gandhi was murdered in 1948 by the Hindu activist Godse. Let's go into the details.
The last years of Gandhi's life were not very pleasing at all. In 1942, for example, he and the Congress Working Committee were arrested. Gandhi himself was held for 2 long years. During this time, his trusted and very much loved secretary Mahatma Desai died after a heart attack. Gandhi's wife, also she in imprisonment, died in 1944, the same year that Gandhi was released from prison. No prison wanted him to die while being there and madden the rest of the world. He was already then considered a great man. Mohandas Gandhi knew that his life was always in danger, and several times before that fatal day in 1948 had his life been under attack. But he couldn't understand why, and I believe many still ask themselves today. At a meeting in Pune, he once said, "By the grace of God, I have escaped from the jaws of death 7 times. I have not hurt anybody, nor do I consider anybody to be my enemy. I can't understand why there are so many attempts on my life. Yesterday's attempt of my life has failed. I will not die just yet. I aim to live till the age of 125. But on January 30th, 1948, he was proved wrong. A man named Nathuram Godse had already been a part of at least 2 murder attempts on Gandhi, and he did not intend to give up. Nathuram was a part of an Hindu activist group named Hindu Mahasabha, and had actually been a supporter of Gandhi before, and had been following his course. But later on he and the group started feeling that Gandhi had ignored and practically sacrificed the Hindus in order to help the minorities in the country. They also thought that he had weakened India because of insisting on payment to Pakistan. So in the end of January 1948, only days after his last failed attempt, Nathuram and a man named Narayan Apte bought a Beretta automatic, which is a sort of gun, and travelled to a place where Gandhi lived. It was common knowledge that Gandhi took a nightly walk, and the 2 men took advantage of that. He was shot 3 times in the chest, at Point Blanc Range, as they call it. What some people have remarked on is why no one called an ambulance directly, instead of carrying him to the house where he later on deceased. And there you have it. A man considered one of the greatest men of the 20th century, gone because of 3 gunshots. He left behind him an upset world and his beloved work unfinished.
Welcome, Alexander Hall, our own expert on the subject non-violent ways of Hindu.
Thank you.
My question to you is, what did Gandhi do to achieve an independent India?
When Gandhi worked for independence in India, he used a non-violent method called satyagraha. Let me explain.